Module 21, Environmental Issues in Sports Nutrition. How does exercise in the heat affect nutrients? Well, we know as the ambient temperature increases, there's going to be an increased intramuscular use of glycogen and an increase in the glycolytic processes to make ATP. We also see a decrease in the amount of lipids that are going to be utilized to produce ATP. So the recommendations in the heat are very simple and straightforward, is that we want to make sure that we have a carbohydrate-rich diet and, of course, be mindful of our fluid intake, which, of course, we talked back in Module 12. What about altitude? How does exercise at altitude affect nutrient availability? Well, in both the acute and chronic states of being exposed to altitude, we see an increase in basal metabolic rate as well as an increase in carbohydrate oxidation. Remember, the problem at altitude is that there's a decrease in atmospheric pressure of oxygen. So this causes some physiological changes which are then going to increase BMR and carbohydrate oxidation. This is accompanied by a decrease in appetite as well as an energy imbalance and cachexia, which is overall wasting in the body of both fat stores and protein stores like muscle tissue. We also see a decrease in total body water. So the simple recommendations here: eat more carbohydrate-dense foods when you're at altitude, as well as be more mindful of fluid intake. Again, take a look back at Module 12. The bottom right-hand corner shows you a study that was interesting that looked at several variables here. The first of which is on the y-axis here. This is the glucose rate of disappearance in milligrams per kilogram of body mass per minute. And on the x-axis, we have the resting condition as well as exercise. And that exercise was after 45 minutes at both sea level and then upon arrival at 4,300 meters in altitude for both the chronic and also acute phases. So what did we find here? Well, first let's take a look at our colored bars here. So we have the non-shaded area is going to be the sea level condition, the gray area is the acute altitude, and the shaded area is the chronic altitude state. And what we see is that with exposure to altitude at rest and during exercise, there is an increase in the amount of glucose that disappears from the bloodstream. So we're delivering more glucose to tissues because those tissues are utilizing more of those substances. Now, if we exercise after chronic altitude, you can see that there is a significant increase in the amount of glucose disappearance after chronic exposure to altitude training.